everyone, welcome to this special conversation with the Director of MDI Gurgaon, Professor Rajesh Chakrabarti. I am Debabrata, the second year student of MDI Gurgaon, and today we'll talk with Sir about changing trends in management education.
See, what the last 2 years of pandemic has done, at least in the Indian context, I mean, it has done several things, of course, and not just the pandemic, several other things were also moving at the same time. But if you want to focus on one specific, what I would say, here to stay kind of a shift, it is the acceleration of technology adoption and e-commerce adoption in India. In some ways, we have been forced to go online by the pandemic. I mean, it was getting there slowly, but suddenly it got accelerated because of the pandemic. Now, good, bad, ugly, whatever that has done has changed the business reality quite a bit, and it has sort of brought in new innovative technology adoption, I would say. So that process has suddenly moved a lot faster than perhaps it would otherwise have. That has, as you rightly said, that has aided many mostly newer ventures, and it has thrown in a spanner in the works of several of the old style businesses. So change is in the air, and this change has been accelerated by the pandemic. But of course, the technological change which was already happening. So in that sense, this whole shift in environment towards being more tech-driven, being more e-delivery driven, being more online-oriented is a phenomenon that much of the industry has still to grapple with. And probably the ones facing the biggest challenge here are the ones that have to deal with logistics. Right? And some are solving it in extremely innovative ways. Others are now forced to play catch up and stay ahead. So that requires new strategizing and new approaches. So if you ask me to point out to one thing that we have witnessed in a very strong manner and which I don't think is going to go away, it would be this accelerated technology adoption.
So we have talked about the changes in the business world. Now let's shift our focus to the world of management education, right? So there's a lot of talk about the changing teaching methods during the pandemic and post the pandemic. So according to you, how will learning and management education, change in the post-pandemic future?
In management education, we have always had this notion of a flipped classroom, where the idea is that the teaching of concepts, as it were, does not necessarily happen in a classroom environment, where much of the background information is given before the class to students and they come prepared with the basics, and the class time is used primarily for interaction. Right. Now, the pandemic threw a very strange kind of a challenge to us. This forced shift to online teaching at first seemed to make the classroom interaction, particularly a case method type teaching environment, so much more difficult, because we could not even imagine having a lively case discussion without having individuals in the same room. But over time, people sort of innovated under duress, if I may say so. And we found that it was not an unmixed curse. So it had more than a silver lining to it. And some teachers and some schools have succeeded in actually operationalizing that flipped classroom better in an online environment, where some people have experimented with recording large segments of the lecture and giving it over to a class even before, so that the conceptual part of it, you don't, instead of referring somebody to a textbook or a chapter or something, some reading material, we are giving viewing material, because people have just become so much more comfortable sitting and talking in front of a laptop camera. That has aided things, but there are some areas of management education which is mostly driven by experiential learning, simulations, and also a certain development of soft skills and people skills, which don't happen in the classroom per se, but in the peer learning environment. That seems to have been challenged big time. So now that we return, hopefully permanently, to a post-pandemic world and we go back to the old method, I don't think we shall ever return to a 100% offline mode. We shall always remain somewhat hybrid. And that would, people have discovered the benefits of the online mode, and those remain at our disposal to carry forward.
Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more such conversations.